Hello, we're back again. Camera's not on me this time, but it's on the car radio. I'm going to play a CD, part of a CD, 10 minutes, of an entity coming through Richard Zenner, the great medium, and he will be talking about Agasha, who is the master teacher, and a little bit about the life of Jesus and so forth. All right, here we go.
Significance of this particular pinnacle. It is truly a cleansing pinnacle. It'll be difficult for all of us to reach. That's understandable. But the universal Spirit God knows that we do need to reach that pinnacle and be on our way for the next one. We're all working diligently to try and strive to understand the words of Agasha, one who is destined to return and has for the past many, many years contacting hundreds and hundreds of friends. And he's endeavoring in this particular life to contact the ones whom he is supposed to contact, just to touch them, to arouse them, so that they may seek not only here but elsewhere. They may have a greater understanding as to their life and their mission and what they're supposed to carry out as the years go by. You upon the physical plane know that life in the flesh is short, only for a short duration. And it is often said that the average person derives very little out of a lifetime. Because we narrow our vision, we hem ourselves in, and we often allow negative conditions to control us and often disturb us and destroy us. Agasha cries out unto you, and he has for the past number of months. It almost seems as though when Agasha speaketh, he's pleading unto his disciples, that he may be able to put across his point. As Agasha has often said, it is not that he is setting himself up as the authority, the only one. He says, truth is truth wherever you find it, and he has no monopoly, nor you or I have. When Jesus was on earth, he brought forth his life and his power unto suffering humanity, those whom he could contact at the time. And Jesus knew during his earlier days, in his earlier career, we'll put it that way, that it was going to be very difficult for him to bring his message to his people. And when he started out, it is told that he had a number of disciples. Of course, he did not have as many disciples as Agasha has today. But he had well over 100, it seemed, in the beginning. But as they went along and they saw what Jesus was doing, and Jesus said unto the disciples, that which I do, you can do also, and greater things shall be done and can be done by you. I only come to serve and be an instrument to bring forth the light of the masters, of the arisen masters. This is the occult interpretation of Master Jesus. Trail to you. And when he went forth to bring forth light, and he gave his demonstrations, and he proved himself beyond a question of a doubt, many of the disciples found that in the beginning it was very inspiring, because witnessing his demonstrations and the messages and the great philosophies that he had brought forth was so intriguing. It was then over a period of time that the disciples began to think. He says that we can do the same as he. And then they set forth to try to bring forth light and peace unto others, and they tried to demonstrate that somehow they seemed to fail in the beginning. During this failure, they went to Jesus and they said, Master, it appears that we cannot demonstrate as you said we could. You say that we can do the same as you. Why is it that we have not been able to demonstrate successfully as you have? And Jesus said unto them, it is not that I have claimed the monopoly of this power that I give forth. It is the Father within me that doeth the work. It is often interpreted in the Christian version. And yet he meant, it is the power within me as a channel chosen that I have earned another life. You too may earn the same. But you be not dismayed, because it is true that which I do you can do in time, whether it be in this life or another life to come. And he kept on telling his disciples, when he was sitting on the mountainside or the hillside, he'd tell them stories to the disciples, and then they would go down to the waterfront, along the water shore, we'll say, and he'd watch the fishermen, and then, of course, he made great converts of them because he felt as though that by reaching the common man, so to speak, that he would be able then to reach the hearts of mankind throughout the years of his career. The occult life of Jesus is one thing, and the Christian inversion today is another. The true occult life of Jesus is something that is most inspiring and can certainly help humanity to understand your particular position today, because it's absolutely symbolical. Because fundamentally men are the same today as they were then. And it means one thing, that Jesus was primarily interested in saving souls from the toils and the pits of hell in the physical plane. Because it is often said, always permits the demon himself to get behind or try to eliminate the demon himself in their interpretation, which today, Geist's interpretation is the monstrous self. It's very difficult to cope with the monster. The monster will often try to destroy you, deceive you, and tell you lies in every way. Very difficult sometimes to know whether you're receiving the devil or what might be termed the monster, or whether you're trying to receive something that is far beyond. Very difficult sometimes to understand it. And so as the disciples became dismayed because they could not demonstrate, and then there was jealousy among the disciples, as one may have progressed a little more than the other, it seemed as though they went aside and they began to whisper unto themselves, saying, I got a desire to follow. The master said, I wish to go back fishing, or I wish to do this or that. The road is very thorny, it seems, and it seemed that I had more enjoyment, and I had more when I was working in the field and along the water shore than I have now in following the master. Yes, they became disgruntled among themselves. And so finally, the story goes on in the occult life of Jesus, that it simmered down to just a few disciples in comparison with the many that he had in the beginning of his career. Yes, friends, when Jesus had his disciples around, then he knew in the end of his great crucifixion and his great sorrow that there would be those that would deceive him. And I want to say this much tonight, blessed one, that it seems to me that a guy is pleading, he's crying out, and perhaps tears are falling from his feet, trying to plead unto you to live the life and to be able to walk the straight and narrow path. But here's what's so beautiful with a Geisha. A Geisha says, live a natural, normal, sound, sensible, practical life. Be your natural self in every sense of the word. Each one of you have responsibility. Each one of you have something to offer to humanity. No matter how mean your work is, it's just as important to God as anything or any other great achievement created and accomplished by mankind. And it seems to me then that as he tries to bring his message, he wants you to reach the pinnacle. He wants you to know that many of you have grown, and that if you don't reach the pinnacle this coming Monday morning, or whenever the 15th is, always know that there will always be an opportunity. It will be that some will fall by the wayside, some will be taken out, some will seek another field, which is just wonderful because perhaps there is a message for you. You know how a guy should work. He says, just around the corner, as I've heard often Dr. Adams himself say on a Sunday night, just around the corner may be a church awaiting you. Maybe there's a message for you. Maybe it can reach you. Maybe the Rosicrucians belong. You belong there. Perhaps you belong to the theosophists. Perhaps you belong to the Catholic Church or the synagogue. But God just says, wherever you wish to be to receive your salvation, then you shall be there if your soul wants you to. It is here that in this organization that is so ordained and is destined to have taken place, otherwise it would not have taken place many, many years ago, on the great duress as the guy should endeavor to bring his message unto the people. And today we find that we have reached the great zenith to bring forth light and peace unto suffering humanity. That this message will be able to be perpetuated, and that you, who are of the 273, with all your honesty and sincerity, will be able then to form the nucleus whereby this message can be given unto people all over the world. These are the words of a guide, so he wants you to understand that. But in the interim, you're learning and growing and deriving out of your life what you are supposed to grow, are supposed to learn. Another thing, friends, you've learned in your lessons, and that is this, that each and every one of you are in your respective category according to your just deserts. It is then in our philosophy that we eliminate envy, animosity, revenge, or whatever it might be termed. We eliminate it because it has no place in your kingdom. How could we possibly become the chief disciple or be able to reach pinnacles if we have that in our heart? We must then always know that it's a very difficult task to stay on the path. But as we learn, as we grow, and as we become so holy and infinitely attuned, as the guy would say, then we will see the light, we will reach our goal, and then ascend and be among the exalted.